Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. We are once again working on the Wastelander costume, the heavy, sturdy metal armor suit that I am building. I last time made the chest plate, and now I'm going to move on to the shoulder pieces, the Pauldrons, and build those out for you. There will be a template down in the description, just like there always is, for free. I even think I may have plans for this pattern for another build, so stay tuned for that also. Today we are going to build some Pauldrons for my sturdy metal armor from Fallout 4. Let's get to building. Continuing my full cosplay, I decided to work my way down the costume. It's a pretty simple build. The shoulder plate is made of a right and a left with a piece that overlaps the base. The large wedge cutout here is to help round over the shape. The small U's you see are there to help you align the halves when you join them together. This is 8mm EVA foam. I heat form the plate bases so that they take a more rounded edge. The glass dome is just to cover off my back porch light. You just need something round to push over or against so that the foam relaxes into that shape when it cools down. After applying a layer of contact cement to the edges, I close up the large darts for each side. Then I join the two halves together using my registration lines to keep everything even. The Pauldron has a layer stacked on top of the base. I made mine with some 4mm EVA so I could pull it over the top of the base layer. I also designed it so that the seam lines run the opposite way of the base. This will help keep the seams together. I also ran a small strip of 2mm EVA on the inside seam to reinforce it. I inverted the top layer. Starting from the center, I stretched it over the base plate. If the edges don't line up perfectly, it's okay. I'm gonna carve onto the edges anyways, like I did in the chest plate build. Just like the chest piece, the edges should look like a jagged piece of metal crudely made into this armor. So with a sharp utility knife, I just cut off chunks of foam as I go. From what I can see from the screenshots I took, there are some random pieces of small metal that are randomly placed everywhere. I can't really make sense of why it's pieced together like this, but okay. One goes directly under the raised portion, and the others are just strips of metal attached on the edges. To make the jagged spikes, I cut up some 36mm EVA into blocks, then I cut it into a pyramid, and then I cut off the corners at the base so that it looked a little kind of rounded, I guess. So that it sits flat on the pauldron, I dish out the bottom with a stone bit and glue it into place with some super glue. This would have been so much easier to snap on the chest piece like football shoulder pads, but of course it doesn't. It straps to the arms, so I'm using some sturdier 2mm What the Foam from Cosplay Apprentice. I cut some uneven lines and add a layer for some details. After that, I just glue the pauldrons into the middle of this strip. I carve away some of the inside so that my arm fits in it better and it doesn't like ride up into my armpits. Two coats of Plasti Dip, then I taped off the arm bands and sprayed that same mix of silver brown and black that I did the chest piece to make it look like aged metal. I wanted the scraps of metal to stand out from the base, so I hit them with some Plat Effects acrylic paint. Their Armor Metallics line gets some pretty excellent coverage. I only put one layer down. Dirty up the whole thing with some brown and black Plat Effects acrylic paint with a little bit of water. Then you wipe away the high points with a paper towel. Then to add the same rust effect that I did for the chest piece, I am once again using the 3-step paint treatment from Modern Masters. It's linked on my affiliates page in the description. The first layer is the primer layer. It's kind of an orangish color. The second layer is the iron layer, which puts real metal onto your prop. Then the last layer of the painting treatment is the spray on. It starts your rusting process. To hold it together, I'm once again using some Velcro. I add some super glue to the backing to keep it from pulling up, and we are finished. And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, I think it turned out pretty awesome. The rust definitely sets it over the top and makes it even more realistic looking. When I ripped the tape off of the straps here, it actually added to it by leaving the residue. So I'm like, forget it, just leave it on there. It just kind of dirties it up and makes it look more realistic and authentic. I kind of like the shape of this, and after making it, I kind of feel like this would probably make for a good helmet also. So I think I'm going to try and convert this Pauldron build into something else, add a couple pieces to it, make it into a full maybe space helmet or something like that. But yeah, maybe you'll try and make one of these Pauldrons yourself and impress your friends with your heavy armor build, so much so that they keep their distance in fear of getting tetanus. Nobody wants that. Maybe you'll get some.
Yay!
And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. I already dropped one, so I'm going to drop this one in your face.